Heyo fam here. It's my first time watching this video by Sneaky Sushi about a horror game that's written so well everybody thought it was real. No idea what I'm walking into right now, so join me and let's go.
In 1994, a Japanese video game company, Chunsoft, released a game that would spark one of the craziest video game conspiracy theories ever. It was a game that behaves perfectly throughout your entire playtime. But once you've completed the game, it begins to malfunction. It wasn't a crash, it wasn't corrupted data, it contained messages. The messages felt like they were addressing you, the player, directly, calling out for help. That's what makes the Kamaitachi No Yoru series so strange. People wondered what these strange messages meant, and more disturbingly, if they were actually real or not.
Oh, Mysteries of Asia. Interesting. Never watched this
The
channel.
first installment of Kamaitachi no Yoru was released in 1994 on Nintendo's Super Famicom. It was a visual novel with mostly text pop-ups, minimal interaction, and multiple endings depending on the choices you made. To obtain the golden bookmark, you had to unlock every ending in the game. Players had to meticulously go through every dialogue and every exposition to reach each specific ending. It was a task so time-consuming that only a few players ever tried to accomplish without a guide, and many never even attempted it at all.
Yeah,
if you managed to reach this point, congratulations, you got your golden bookmark. Within one of the endings, there are hidden vertical messages in the text. One reads, "Help me." On the next page, you can see a text that vertically reads, "Reset here." At this point, once you hit the reset button while having the golden bookmark, something very strange happens. The screen turns to black and white ominous texts begin flooding the page. A message talking directly to the player. The message introduces itself not as a character in the game, but as a real-life person. A writer, someone claiming to be the real author behind the game. He soon became aware of the sinister nature of the company. He tried to escape, but the company seized him and forced him to work on the game against his will. He was even tortured for trying to escape the company. As you are reading this, I'm probably already dead. I'm writing this to tell the world about their conspiracy and how to stop it. I've hidden this message behind an ordinary game that can only be found by cracking the code so that it can be passed on to those on the outside. Using subliminal messages in the game, they want to brainwash the youth into being devotees of Chunsoft. By the time the children who play this game become adults, Chunsoft would be more than just a game company. It will be a religious corporation, a political organization, and a multinational conglomerate. When this happens, the brainwashed youths will worship Koichi Nakamura as a god, vote for the Chunsoft party, and continue to play Chunsoft games while eating Chunsoft instant noodles. That is what they want to control the whole of Japan in all aspects of the economy. If you were a teenage boy reading this message at 2 AM, it would probably freak you out a little. But you might still think that this is just some elaborate Easter egg made by the company to freak out their hardcore fans. However, this doesn't seem to be the case, because why would Chunsoft even allow such slander about the company to be put inside the game? Because it really doesn't
Because they have a good sense of humor?
light. Things were only about to get weirder.
Okay, here's where it picks up. Here is
in the game.
No matter how
here's an ad. Oh, come on, man.
Kamaitachi no Yoru 2. The sequel was released in 2002, and it immediately destabilized reality. In this game's universe, Kamaitachi no Yoru 1 exists as a video game based on a real incident that happened. The people involved in that incident are invited to a remote island by the game's author. When they arrive, he's gone, and someone begins killing them. What makes it notorious is what happens after you complete
like a very, very elaborate
once again, there's a
mass media
and once again, earning it requires near total completion.
Really
a total
the game
of
developers
105
want you to
endings
get
across
in there
11
and
different scenarios, which is again an
super
extremely
paranoid and
exhausting
probably kill
task that
yourself.
only the most dedicated players
This is
reach.
exactly
But
why
when they
people
do
people
complete it,
die
the game
or
doesn't
everybody kill
reward
themselves in
them.
Japan
It
because of
confronts
games like
them.
this, man.
Time,
It's
the golden
crazy.
bookmark seems to do nothing at
Okay,
first.
so
The
this
game
time
appears normal until you reboot the game. That's when the screen starts glitching, and soon after, 4 eerie choices appear. here, there are essentially 4 different screens. The first
so
one is pretty mild, simply showing a woman on a beach with a short dialogue before returning to the game. However, it's the other 3 screens that are truly bizarre, starting with this one.
So
a
the
blue
player
silhouette
goes
flickers
inside or
onto the
something?
screen, accompanied by an electrical noise, and then a long, creepy confession begins to scroll. This time, the voice belongs to a scenario writer working on Kamaitachi No Yoru 2. He describes rumors spreading through the Chunsoft office, whispers of strange voices, distorted faces appearing on monitors, and sightings that co-workers laughed off as stress or exhaustion. He admits he initially laughed them off too, until he started seeing it himself.
I'm actually wondering now, like,
for the game, he was the first person
the game
to play
devs
Kamaitachi no
who
Yoru
worked
2,
so
and
hard
that's
on
when
this,
the
they probably like
strangeness
work
started.
together,
A vague blue figure watching him from
and
the
they'll
edge
just
of the
put all
screen,
this stuff in the
appearing
game,
behind him
and
in
they're just
reflections,
waiting for
even
videos
following
like
him
this to cover
outside
it, and
the
they will be
office.
just
He
laughing
describes
their
hearing
heads off.
whispers he can't understand, feeling watched even when alone. He insists that he has been somehow pulled into the game and is still trapped inside. Now, I know initially this sounds like just a creepypasta, and people who saw this might just move on.
Like a Stephen King novel.
Hidden in the game's debug files are unused images that mirror his story exactly. Here's what players found. Scenes of a man at a computer, a printer, a blue silhouette looming closer with each image. These were images never meant to be seen. Like I said, it was hidden deep within the game files. And strangely enough, it matches the story exactly. Perhaps it's a way to describe how the writer is now losing his mind after being trapped in the game for so long. And then comes the final and most
probably
bizarre screen.
is true, the writer losing their minds, because like horror writers is one of two
This
ways,
one has
right?
no story and no explanation.
It's either you're just like a huge joker,
flashing
or
images, and
you yourself go
the brutal
insane
images you
with what you're
see
writing
were
because you're
sourced
so
from
immersed
infamous
in the
Japanese
world
exploitation films.
that you
Some of the
wrote.
most disgusting and disturbing ones ever made. Like films from the Guinea Pig series. At this point, it's obvious that these are not glitches. They were deliberate. Someone or multiple people
Probably the
embedded
whole
horror
dev team.
stories so deeply into these games that only obsessive completionists would ever encounter them. So could Kamaitachi no Yoru really be a cursed game? To break it down, we need to understand that Chunsoft is known for making alternate reality games, or ARGs, that blend fiction with reality through immersive storytelling. In the message, the author tells the player to call somebody. He sounded very urgent, but no number was ever provided in the text, which makes sense, I guess, because hundreds of people would be calling a random number that Chunsoft had to deal with later on. The message
You got
also
no budget
mentions
for that, man.
Chunsoft plans
Chunsoft
to
ain't
be a
big.
multi-conglomerate. While the company has a stronghold on the Japanese market and cult followers for games like Danganronpa, its annual revenue in 2023 was only 480 million yen, or roughly $3 million, compared to Konami or let's say Sega,
thing,
with
right?
revenue
Like,
in the
nobody's heard of
billions. Chunsoft
Chunsoft.
isn't the multi-conglomerate that it said it was supposed to be, and I definitely don't see any Chunsoft instant noodles. In the updated message, the
Why
author
would you
mentions
eat
being
that?
in prison for 4 years, only being let out to help with the PlayStation 1 port. Also, I missed out one very important thing.
Juicy.
There's a part 3 in the series, and if we follow the pattern, there are probably hidden messages in that game too. Thank you so much for watching tonight's episode of Mysteries of Asia.
If you've played a lot of games, and especially the Metal Gear Solid games, you would have a kind of realization that this was probably just something the devs put in there, and then you just have to find out as a hardcore player, because like you said, you know, in the video, most people wouldn't even get to the point where they would actually find out about these things, and it's only reserved for the hardcore. And even the hardcore players of this game, I think the game series, would just take it as, oh, okay, this guy is just trying to pull a Hideo Kojima on us, you know, because the way they did it in the immersion, you'd have to be really immersed, number one, right? And then the front of the game, where you just play the normal game, you just do all the quests and everything, finish the game, and then this extra layer with all the additional files that you can find if you dig up or you disassemble, unpack the game files, and you can find all these things, just adds to the extra layer of lore. If you're a huge hardcore fan, like no normal player would want to open up the game files just to find stuff, right? You'd have to be like a hacker or like somebody who's really into the game and wanna really go into it and find out all these extra stuff. So overall, I think the video was okay. They got, not gonna lie, got me in the first half kind of feeling, and then towards the end, it was like, yeah, okay, everything I predicted was there, kind of thing. So yeah, what do you guys think about this? Would you actually try the game series? I would not. I'm not a fan of this kind of stuff anyway. Maybe I will. I don't know. We'll see how it goes when I get bored and I got nothing to look at. But let me know what you think about the game series if you've played it, or just the video in general. Big props to Sneaky Sushi for that video. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one.